So Jean talked about how Emerson is reorganizing and refocusing to really be able to deliver true solutions. And we are not the only company talking about solutions, but what we hope to talk to you about this morning is how we're solving real problems that exist in the world. And the focus of this talk will be around how we're using Internet of Things technology to solve big stakes problems, to safeguard food and safeguard the environment. So, as we said during the introductions, my name is Ed McKiernan and I'm the president of Emerson Retail Solutions, which is we serve customers really throughout the world that are involved in the cold chain. And I'll talk more about the cold chain throughout this presentation, but the cold chain is really the term we use to describe the chain from where food is produced, either on a farm or in a production facility, and transported all the way through until it arrives on your supermarket or grocery store shelf, or perhaps at a restaurant or other places where you buy food. And we serve all those customers. We're about a $300 million business. A little over half of our sales are in North America, the remainder outside, and serve some very large customers that you can see there on the left. People like Walmart, like Hamburg Süd in the refrigerated transportation industry, like Amazon, which, as John mentioned, is very explicitly competing to deliver food in a new way. We do have locations all over the world, and really our business, as it says here, is about we provide controls, connectivity, and monitoring that come together to provide solutions. And you might wonder, well, what does all that mean? Well, controls they're electronic devices that really, at a very simple level, they turn things on and off. They turn refrigeration, lights, HVAC on and off, where they operate them in a very energy efficient manner. But what I hope to show you is how we're using those controls as really a layer of infrastructure to solve challenges in the cold chain. And this graphic really represents what we mean by the cold chain, where food is harvested, processed, transported, distributed, and ultimately ends up in a variety of venues that you see on the right, where food is purchased. And there are a lot of big challenges here. A lot of new players, a lot of regulation change, certainly a lot of complexity. But the biggest challenges really are described on this next chart. So the United Nations estimates that there is nearly $1 trillion of food spoilage throughout the cold chain that you saw on the prior chart, because food isn't properly protected. So that's a big challenge, $1 trillion. And yet we have people in the world that don't have access to enough food. So we think a lot about that at Emerson. How can we help use the layer of controls infrastructure that we have at our customers to help solve that problem? Secondly, energy use. I said at the beginning that our mission, our part of the Emerson mission at Retail Solutions, is how do we help our customers safeguard food and safeguard the environment, which gets to minimizing the energy footprint, the energy spend. So $32 billion to enable that cold chain in just energy, to operate it. And then on the right, $18 billion to maintain those cold chain assets. So there's a lot of cost here. And what we think about is how can we use the technology we offer to help safeguard that food supply, reduce energy consumption, optimize business effectiveness, and safeguard the environment. So here's an example. In the upper left, you see a graphic of a food retail outlet. If you think about supermarkets or grocery stores, there are 26 billion square feet under roof across the world. So if you laid all those supermarkets end to end, you would circle the globe 3 times, a lot of space. And inside of that space, you have a variety of building systems. Certainly refrigeration to protect food, HVAC for human comfort, lighting, and even food service equipment to prepare food. Now at Emerson, today, we are connected to 17,000 of these facilities on 4 continents, and we monitor them 24/7, 365 days a year to help them watch and monitor their infrastructure. So we receive about 30 million events from our controls that are sent back to our monitoring center. Those 30 million events all relate to high temperature conditions where assets are maybe temporarily or permanently failing. And if someone doesn't act, then food would be at risk. Again, going back to the food spoilage that I mentioned at the beginning. So we monitor that for our customers. We have multiple operation centers throughout the world. And we respond to those 30 million alarm conditions and contact someone either on the site or a service contractor to dispatch them to the location so that our customers don't experience that food loss. So we offer a variety of services that you can see depicted on the right. We offer remote control software, we deal with alarms, we also look at the sensory data that we're receiving through our controls and help our customers identify where they can perhaps operate their assets more efficiently to reduce their energy spend. So today, just through our operation centers, every second of every day, we're watching about $2 billion worth of food. And we're monitoring about a $7 billion energy spend for the 17,000 locations that are connected to us. And through those, we deliver true solutions to protect food and safeguard the environment. So that's supermarkets. Let's talk about small format retailers. We think about certainly smaller supermarkets, convenience stores, cash and carry sites, a variety of small format retailers that really have convenience stores, I should say, and restaurants, have a variety of challenges of their own. Convenience stores, for example, that you see on the left, have hundreds of thousands of locations. And for them, offering prepared food is a big part of their strategy. But historically, they haven't had the controls infrastructure in place in order to do this, both protecting the food and doing it in an energy efficient manner. So we help them with a variety of controls and monitoring options in order to accomplish that. Same with restaurants. Restaurants have the challenge of they're very dependent on the commercial food service equipment that exists inside of their locations. And we help them to monitor that kitchen equipment so they can continue to produce food on an optimal basis. I'll take you to the transportation industry. So there are approximately 3.3 million refrigerated container shipments annually. Many of those containing food. Some of them contain life science equipment, medicine, and other life science material. But this is quite a technology challenge because unlike facilities, containers obviously are constantly on the move. So we offer customers like Hamburg Süd that I mentioned at the beginning, monitoring options so that they can monitor their refrigerated containers throughout their entire voyage, from the time that they are on a truck, at a shipping terminal, on the vessel, and then at a shipping terminal, and finally trucked or put on a train to their final destination. And through that, we're able to help them watch their cargo, monitor the energy use, and provide solutions to those customers. But as we've really started to really look and expand the solutions that we offer, we've taken our focus beyond just the asset focus that I just mentioned, where we're looking just at the container itself. And we've started to invest in monitoring technologies that don't just monitor the container, but monitor the food inside. And you might say, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is that when food is transported from the farm all the way through until it arrives on the shelf, it may be taken maybe on a container only for a portion of its journey. And if you're going to safeguard food and make sure that it's high quality once it's arrived on the shelf for the ultimate consumer, you need to make sure that it was safeguarded throughout its entire journey. So we are starting to invest in monitoring devices, small monitoring tags, if you will, that can be put on the food pallet or the food packaging from the very beginning all the way through to the end, and report their temperature condition throughout the entire journey through cellular connections, so that we can actually monitor the cargo itself, and if there is food that is not kept at its proper temperature in the middle of its journey, identify that alarm condition and respond and bring our customers into action so that we can save food. So we've talked about some specific things we're doing. As we think about the cold chain, though, we really see a convergence of data, of information, as customers, like the ones that I mentioned at the beginning, try and take more control of food quality and energy usage. They're looking for partners that can help them as they transport food and deliver it to the ultimate consumer. And these are the problems that we're thinking about at Emerson Retail Solutions. So thank you for listening to our talk, and with that I'll bring up Thomas Tomsky.